Fortnite, but also to enjoy. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.
Some people would burn many years ago when they used to reprint covers without saying that they were reprinted covers. And of course, there are a whole host of other reasons why you may not want to go there, and that's absolutely fine. One of the topics raised in the video was how would it affect prices, because the suggestion was that CEX dictates the market here in the UK, and I would agree with that 99% of the time. And again, there's going to be people in the comments, I'm sure, who disagree and who think that there are content creators such as Beckham Jesus, for example, who will dictate the market. If that guy comes out and says, this game is going to go out of stock at the end of the next 6 months, it's going to go up in price, it's rare, blah, 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 now, next door will rush to buy it, the price goes up, etc. Whereas I do agree with that to a certain extent, that can happen. I do feel like the US market is completely different to the UK market. There are games over here that are worth a fortune that are pennies in the US, and vice versa. And one of those was Pokemon Box on the GameCube. In fact, it was cheaper for people in the US to buy a PAL GameCube console and a copy of Pokemon Box than it was to buy just a US NTSC copy of Pokemon Box. And I don't know what the price is these days, but that was about a year or two ago. Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympic Games, I think was another one of those games that were worth like between 50 and 70 quid in the US. Over here, I don't know, 6-7 quid. I found one actually in CEX in Newport, an NTSC copy, and ended up selling it for like 25-30 quid, or maybe more, maybe it was 40. I sold it for a substantial amount. And you'll often see the price spike on eBay when CEX run out of stock of a certain game. So I do feel like CEX have a massive part to play when it comes to dictating the price. For example, once more, when they introduced this whole, without a manual thing for retro games, all of a sudden prices of games that manual on eBay through the roof. As we say, if you've always been able to come out with a little bit more money, you have a good condition, Mega Drive League, for example, with the manual in condition, the cards you play, you charge 10%, maybe 15-20% in some cases more than CEX charge for it, because you don't know what you're getting with CEX. And some people can't be bothered for the length you have to go through with CEX because they don't really give that description of condition, because they don't know themselves until they ship it out, because every single one that they have is in completely different condition, and that's one of the gripes people will have with the company. We could sit here for hours saying what is right and what is wrong about CEX. For me personally, if they went out of business tomorrow, it would affect me greatly. There's only so much of me just showing you what I bought on eBay and Vinted you can watch before you've got completely bored how to click on. And the other part of it is, I love walking around a brick and mortar store looking at video games, and as I've mentioned already in this video, I don't have a independent local video game store I can go and look around. I have to drive well over an hour to find one, and even then I don't know what state it's going to be, and I don't know how big it's going to be, I don't know what the prices are going to be like. But with CEX, I kind of know what I'm getting. And my local CEX is quite a big one. It's spread across 2 floors, and they have an awful lot of stuff to look through, and I can be in there for well over an hour looking at everything and not get bored, and I enjoy every single second of it. And that's kind of what I miss about hunting for video games. I love going to all of the small independent stores back in the day. Electronics Boutique as well. Game Station was there. Game, of course, popped up. There was about 3 or 4 different stores in my local town that had different stuff, different prices, owned by different people. Now I have CEX, and if they went away tomorrow, I'd have nothing, and then I would have to just buy my games on eBay and Vinted. And part of the big draw of collecting for me is finding things in the wild. I very rarely buy a game on Vinted or eBay and put it into my collection, because anyone can do that, and I find it boring. So unresponsive PC outside the firewall.
I'll use the teleporter. That's okay, we can get it back up and running from here.
Oh, they fixed it. Manage PCs remotely, even if they're down, with Intel Core Ultra and Intel Ethernet.
So from a content creation point of view, it would affect me in the short term, but I've adapted before. I went from FIFA to video game collecting, and I've bounced around a few areas of video game collecting before I've sort of honed in on what I'm now considered to be known for. But I could easily move away from it. So it wouldn't affect me too much in that sense. But in terms of just the collector in me, it would damage my relationship with collecting, I think. I don't think I would enjoy collecting as much as I do right now if I didn't have that store I could just visit frequently. And obviously, I'm not saying CEX are the all and end all. They're not the only way to collect. And if they did disappear tomorrow, it would mean that my collection would just stop growing. I would find another way to do it. Maybe it wouldn't be as enjoyable, or I wouldn't add games as frequently as I do, but I would find a way around it. But it's just convenient for me personally to have them there. You know, they're a 15-minute walk away from my house. It's a sizable store. I like 99% of the staff, except that one guy. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think CEX disappearing tomorrow would have an impact on the way you collect video games? For the content creators you watch, aside from myself, of course, go to CEX a lot and include them in their content. Do you think they would be affected? And of course, there are going to be a small minority of people who think that CEX going away would be a good thing. Prices on eBay would plummet, and maybe some independent video game stores would pop up more often because the competition is going to be far less. And I could see your side of it, and to be fair, I would arguably agree that if CEX disappears tomorrow, there's a gap in the market. I know there could be one big company who decide to fill that gap. Maybe the Fraser Group decide to turn the game into what CEX are currently. Would that be a bad thing, the way the game is run? Yes, it would. But if no one decided to fill that gap, maybe smaller independent video game retailers would pop up because they would get a much bigger slice of the pie. In fact, they would get the pie. And that, in my opinion, would be a good thing. But without CEX disappearing tomorrow, of course, everything is just speculation and conjecture, and we have absolutely no idea. But the one classic saying that I would always refer to is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So despite the fact that you may not like CEX, if they were to disappear tomorrow and no one replaced them, I think that would be a pretty glum day for video games and collecting in general. Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. The deal for Jared Branthwaite is off. It looks like it's off anyway because we've got a massive update from David Ornstein. Also an update on Euro, which probably becomes more important now. Where do you go if the Branthwaite deal's off and Euro goes to Madrid? Because I'm scared that we could end up with a situation where we keep Maguire and Lindelof and Evans and we just have De Ligt and Martinez. Which would be a bloody nightmare because it won't take long for us to be playing on the edge of our box again with a massive void in the midfield. So Ineos need to be worried about that. Well, not worried, but wary. But what's the latest? This is a David Ornstein update, so you can take it as read. Amadou and Arna's move to Aston Villa all but ends any chance of Everton signing Jared Branthwaite, barring huge bids similar to Maguire, Farner and Vardiel transfer fees. Now, if I hear that in the brief again from Everton, I think I'm going to lose it. I mean, it's incredible that the Everton Football Club and people within that football club who actually say to David Ornstein, we want huge bids, and don't forget to mention Maguire, Fofana and Vardiel. I mean, it's incredibly thick. But they have got a right to say they want £70 million. I'm not taking that away from them. That's up to them. I think they're wrong, but that's up to them. But to brief it, to mention Maguire, Fofana and Vardiel is incredible, considering Maguire and Fofana would be two examples of why not to spend £80 million on a centre-back, because they both flopped. Why would Everton associate Branthwaite's asking price with two flops? And Vardiel also played regularly in the Champions League for Leipzig, who were way better than Everton, and he had a much better pedigree. So why would you even think they're the same? But look, it's up to them what they say. It's what we do that matters, and it's up to us what we do. We walk. We walk now. I mean, look, Ineos are in a great position here where if they walk away from that deal, it's been played out so publicly that no United fan is going to go, wow, we should have paid the money. We should have paid the money, you know. Every United fan I read or see or listen to is saying, walk away. I mean, some of you don't even rate Branthwaite, so what would you do now? Because, as I said, if we walk away, I'm sure we're going to get De Ligt. Euro we've got an update on, but it's still a very difficult deal to do. We're left with De Ligt, Martinez, Maguire, Lindelof, Evans as our 5 centre-back roster. I'm scared. I'm scared about that because Martinez and De Ligt, you cannot rely on them being fit every single game. And there will need to be rotation. Now, De Ligt and Martinez will push that defensive line up because that's what they want to do. But But the minute you take one of them out through injury, suspension, or whatever, you bring Maguire in, you bring Lindelof in, you bring Evans in, back we go to the edge of the box, and then there's that big void in the midfield again. We're getting run through by Wolverhampton. Absolutely messy. And we've got to look at that. And it doesn't matter about who Rennie and Ten Hag, the dream team, and Ineos and anything like that. That would be a huge error, in my opinion. So what do you do? Because look, you know what? You look at Ten Hag stage, we look at certain things coming in, we look at some of the talks that are going on, you look at Marada, and you say, you know what? Ineos are making changes here. We're doing good stuff. But they're always teetering on the edge. You know, some people just want to dream. And what if the reality is that this all goes tits up and it doesn't work out? And these are the warning areas. You know, the warning areas are, you know, be very careful about your squad and the mentality, because clicks and drop-downing tools will still happen. And also be very careful about things like, well, we want 3 centre-backs, but let's wait a year and see what the situation is with Brandway. We'll just stick with Maguire, Lindelof and Evans. It's a tactical mess that we saw last season. We cannot do that. We've got to bring in a centre-back that, like Phillips and Martinez, will want to push us up. And, you know, it would be a completely and utterly imbalanced centre-back roster to have 2 who can play a high line and 3 who can't. So we've got to get a 3rd centre-back in. We walk for Brandway, though. What I would do is this. We walk for Brandway. I like Brandway, by the way. I've said this consistently. And what I would say to Brandway on the way out is, we're really sorry. You know, we've done what we can. All right, the first bid was a bit low to see if Everton would negotiate. They wouldn't. We've then got in with a realistic 45 plus 5 to negotiate from. And they've just said every single time, we want silly money. We really want you. You're the number one choice. We can't do any more than that, because we're not going to pay stupid money for anybody. So we'll leave it with you, Brandway. If you've got to take an issue with anyone, take it up with Everton. And I think that, you know, we've all said this. If you want to earn respect, you're going to have to burn a deal. And I think this one could be the one where Man United go, we really wanted this player. All our fans know we really wanted this player. We scouted this player. We were willing to offer a reasonable fee for this player, and Everton wanted stupid money. And we as a football club have been hung out to dry for the last decade, and we cannot let that happen anymore. We are in an impossible position where we cannot pay what Everton are demanding. Whether we think it's unreasonable or not, we cannot pay that price, and we're not going to pay that price. And if somebody else wants to do, fine. And as I said, good luck, Everton, if you think you're going to get £60 million for Brandweight at any point in the next 3 years. I mean, genuinely good luck if you think that that's realistic, because what you're asking for is incredible. And look, hopefully the player can just get his head down and carry on with Everton, because it must be disappointing in some ways. If Man United's the move he wants, it must be disappointing that, you know, he's been priced out of the market by Everton, who knows what they're going to do next season. But we've got to move on. Everton can ask for what they like. As I said, I think it's embarrassing that they're mentioning Gvardiol, Maguire and Fofana, because they're not good examples of spending a lot of money on a centre-back. But I mean, Gvardiol is, but he's got a pedigree, and it's Man City who spent £100 million on Grealish. You can't. If Man City wanted Brandweight, by all means charge £80 million. They can bloody afford it, but we can't. So it's a flawed argument to mention Gvardiol, Maguire and Fofana. But look, where I would go now is, obviously you've got Yoro. Could that work? We're hearing the latest from Spain is that Real Madrid will not pay any more than 34. Now, we've offered 44. But Lille don't have the power in this. This is a unique transfer where if Yoro wants to go to Real Madrid, then it doesn't matter.
You're wondering, what is the definitive way to play Sonic Adventure on PC? Well, this is Speedy Sonic 14 here with another YouTube video, and today I'm going to show you all how to do just that. Now, you will need a couple of mods for this. Obviously, you will need the SADX mod manager. In order to download this, you simply just download it. and make sure it downloads to your Sonic Adventure .exe folder or whatever. So yeah, and you'll see that once you've downloaded it, once you have downloaded it, it will be right there. So what we are going to do for the mods is we will need the Dreamcast conversion mod, the
I'm gonna end the live stream. Subscribe on peace.